Oh, goody.
Alright, what's up everybody? It is Zombies here again, and today we have some games from this past weekend versus Mana. This is actually from round 3 of the tournament, so super fun playing in this event. Really glad got to take part in it, and we had some good games here. So if you don't know Mana, they're also a really good player who has played in a bunch of the other Mercenaries tournament events we've had so far. And yeah, so we're going to take a look at the games here. This is some post-commentary. This will also be going up on Tuesday when the patch drops, so if you're looking to see the new Merc stuff, I will be streaming today over on Twitch. Link for that will be in the description, over on Zombies Go Nom Nom, over on Twitch, so definitely check that out if you want to see the new Merc stuff. But getting back to the gameplay here, as we can see, I went with Frost Tirion. That's the deck I brought for the tournament, and I felt pretty confident with it. Mana had a really cool lead. So what Mana's kind of starting deck is it is a, Shadow Sam deck, but the other kind of bench side of it is GVT, so Grom Valera Thrall. So the kind of neat thing about this is you can actually have either lead. Like here we see ended up leading Shadow Sam, which I think was smart. Obviously the deck lists are open and available, so we do know what each other are playing going into the event. So it makes predicting stuff like what you want to do with your lead and whatnot a little easier. But yeah, big props to Mana for his build. I really liked this build, and I didn't actually see too many comps that were kind of built like this, so props to him for figuring out a very cool strategy. So here, they have enough to pop the Jaina 39. And so now here, I'm thinking, well, we'll shrink the Samuro so he can't do a huge ton of damage. And now I think I'm just looking to see if there are any snap lines here or not. Yeah, it looks like that's what I am doing. Trying to see if there's any way to get off a little clutch snap. I don't think there is, though. So I think I do end up changing the play. But obviously, this is tournament event, so going to take my sweet time thinking about it, because, I want to make sure I make the right decision. That's definitely one thing I recommend for tournaments, is just take your time, You can take as much time as you need to until that rope starts burning, because you do not want to play too fast and make a mistake. And as we can see, Mana was taking some time as well, figuring out their decisions there, because obviously, like I just said, you want to take your time in tournaments. So Jaina's down. However, now it should be pretty easy to pick off Natalie, I think. Diablo makes a lot of sense here. Let's get against their double blues, get him a little bit bigger. I do think the Vol'jin Natalie Samuro lead was good, though, against my Frost Tirion. VGC could have also, or not VGC, this isn't Pokemon, GVT is something that could have also been a solid lead, but I guess didn't want to open into double casters with GVT, which kind of makes sense. Here I'm just trying to think, what's the best way to do what I'm trying to do to win here. Keep the Diablo nice and healthy, get some kills. Trying to see if there's way to snap, but unfortunately the opponent is fast enough to where I don't think snap is really possible. Alright, what happens? We go AoE, yep. Snipe down the Varden. I do think the play there was actually pretty big. Should have swung in the Diablo if I better predicted his stuff, because then I could have got the kill on the Vol'jin. However, the plus side on this is now he only gets to swap in 2 units instead of 3 units. And like I mentioned before, this is an open decklist event, so I do know what he has on the bench. Like I previously mentioned, it is GVT. And I really liked the format of this event. It really, I think, it rewarded players for making good decisions. And I think it was a little bit more fun than some of the previous formats where we had sideboards where you could only pick 3. I think being limited in other ways was a bit more interesting, like in this event. So he sent out the Grom first, which I think makes sense. You want something to combo the Valyria with. So lock it in, see what happens. Make the Valyria smaller. So here we actually do pretty well against their GVT backline, because as you can see, getting that Thrall out 1 turn later gave us a little bit of, I mean, we got some good damage on the Valyria, and even to a lesser extent the Grom. However, we are going to get pretty swept here, I believe. Pretty swept. But then we're going to have a big Illidan come in, and maybe Illidan and Karen can get us there.
Job's done.
I think here I was just debating if there's any point in speeding up. I really don't think there is, because they'll probably just target the Karen. And they're faster anyway. They're 2 speed on all their abilities for the most part, unless they pick a different Valyria ability or Grom ability. Alright, let's see what goes on here. So they snipe down the Diablo and go for the kill on the Tirion. So this is actually really close. It's actually really close. I'm trying to remember what I did here. I think I just stomp Illidan AoE. Or no, I go for that for the heal. Because I'll kill Thrall, heal me up. I feel like I might change this to AoE though. I could be wrong. We'll see. Yep, I do change it to AoE. Because we just can't have our Illidan taking 1,000,000 damage from... Even if he heals, it's still a lot of damage to be taking. We take 40, heal for 25, and then we take another 17. So we take 30-something damage, which, combined with super effective hits, could kill Illidan pretty quick. So they slow the Karen here, which I don't think that was like the wrong play necessarily, but I don't think it ends up working out for him. And here I'm just big enough to know that I can't swing in twice because it will survive at 1 HP, and then he could like slow me to try and snipe me down the next turn. So we're just going to use regular attack here, and then we'll go Outcast for the final blow. And I really thought they were going to snipe it down with a slam, but I guess not there. I guess that wouldn't have been a winning line either, though. So game one was close, but we were able to pull it out here. So now, according to the tournament rules, basically, Mana has to swap up his lineup. He has to keep 2 mercenaries and swap out 4. So we're going to skip through this, and we'll be back once the game 2 is starting. All right, and we're getting into game 2 here. So like previously mentioned, Mana had to keep 2 units and swap out 4. I was really interested to see what they're going to end up going with. Obviously, the Shadow Sam start didn't really end up working out against Frost Tirion, so I were imagining, you know, I bet they're going to keep the Karen Diablo, but it looks like they actually might keep the Valera Grom, which, if I do remember correctly, is what they end up doing, as they do have a very protector-heavy lineup here. However, if they do keep the Valera Grom, there is no other options from their prior comp. Here we see the Diablo come in, though. This was not in their first build. This actually took me by surprise a lot, the Diablo lead. And being fully honest, I did not really know how to deal with it. In my bit of testing I did for the event, I didn't actually run into any Diablo leads. I didn't really try it out to see what I'm supposed to do against a Diablo lead. So props to Mana for making a good decision here, because 100% threw me off. The fact that I just wasn't used to playing against a Diablo on turn 1. Most of the time when I've seen it or tried it against people, it didn't really do that well. But in the games versus me, did pretty well for Mana. So the lead Diablo is a very heads-up play, and it's definitely one that I do not know if I would have been able to identify that kind of play on my own, because I'm just not used to leading with Diablo. Diablo's more of a backline unit most of the time, but obviously here with Valera, it's pretty fast, pretty good, right? And we got some damage on him, but we're gonna get sniped down here. R.I.P. Jaina. They do get a fire stomp. Boom. Still trying to take out that Diablo, but it's hanging on there. And obviously Karen is a great switch in here against double green. But they do have 2 reds in the back, so I think it might be like nature backline or something, potentially. Or actually, it's probably like Karen, Diablo. Well, we see the Diablo, but it's probably Karen, Cookie, and something else maybe. Or maybe Karen, Brucon, and Malf. Karen, Brucon, Malf for like nature backline. I could see that. It has been a few days since the event, so I don't remember perfectly how all these plays went down, but it is it's fun to watch it back and see how things went, see if there are different decisions could have made so on and so forth. But they do obviously have the Valeera speed advantage here, which is really huge. It's just going to kind of enable them to shut down a lot of what we're trying to do here before we can really do it, which is a shame. Like, there goes Tirion. Yep. Because of the Tirion, they actually do have to double focus the Varden. We get the freeze on Karen, which honestly isn't terrible. Or not Karen, on Grom, which not terrible. I think I'd rather have it there than on the Valeera or maybe the Diablo. Nice thing about this is we can't get slowed at a fast speed, so we can actually opt to, I think we opt to, no, maybe we don't speed up. I think I just punch in with the Karen. No, I guess I do speed up. We speed up and I guess I AoE, but AoE seems unnecessary here. So maybe I just go for the scaling. Yeah. Looks like that's what I end up doing. And then this should be fine. Valeera dies. So Grom lives at 6 because the Valeera ended up killing herself off before we got our stomp. So that was a good play for mana. Otherwise, we would have got a full clear there. And out comes Nature Duo. So this, once I saw this, I was like, oh shit. Like, double red nature against even my buffed units is like, it's not what I want to see. The level of healing they have plus the level of damage they can put out on my units is just, it's pretty concerning. Karen's going to be doing a lot here to try and protect us, but obviously they can get around taunt, so zapping the Illidan. And as we see here, we're actually just a little bit shy of killing that Karen, 2 damage off. That actually was kind of important because if we were able to kill the Karen, we would have gained some health and our Illidan would have potentially been able to stay alive for one more turn. Now, would that have mattered a whole ton? Probably not. I think this game we just got by that lead Diablo with the Valeera against our Frost, and that's really what kind of swung the game, and I was not able to really swing it back super effectively. They did a good job getting the triple red switch in on my double greens, which is obviously something you never want to see. So I'm thinking what to do here. But even though I have decent health, they're just gonna keep healing and picking me down. And they still have a blue in the back, which I haven't even started to deal with yet. So this is looking less than great right now. Malfurion healing, gonna be annoying. Look at that, 50 damage, boom, Diablo's just dead, we get a kill. But obviously, even buff Karen, it's not buff enough to deal with Malfurion healing and Brucon damage. So I think I sit in one more turn and then scoop it up, if I recall correctly. And then it is time for me to make a switch. So mana will have to stay on this comp. That is kind of the advantage of if you do lose, you have a chance at countering your opponent's stuff. Nice thing though is, you know, they can counter your counter afterwards. So you do have to kind of keep that in mind when you are making your picks. So as we see here, I'm going to go make my picks now. I had some different thoughts about what I wanted to swap into. Just double checking my list here so I see what I have available. I was thinking of going this comp. Yeah, I was thinking of going with this one, and I think it would have been a decent call. The only thing I was worried about was they do obviously have some pretty powerful reds, and with a double green start, it just could go wrong. So I was a little bit worried about that. However, in hindsight, I think maybe I should have picked this comp. But, you know, that's how it goes, right? That is, hindsight is 2020. So I do end up thinking about this for a while because I do want something that feels good against that opening Diablo lead they had last time. So I'm thinking maybe we get some nature stuff going. It's tricky though in this format because you do want to make sure that your opponent can't just counter your counter one game later, which is definitely something this comp could be vulnerable to. I do think if you do like a nature, well, maybe not nature, but just something that doesn't really care about the Cornelius or have like blue openers, so you can't get that super effective damage with Illidan and Valera. So even though I really wanted to bring this one, I think I ended up making a different choice. So here we can see I took out the Illidan and the Corn. And what did I end up going for? Was thinking about Cookie, wasn't sure. I think I do end up picking Cookie. Yep, it's Diablo and Cookie. Yep. So I guess I went with Nature Bow. Yeah, it looks about right. And we put on the big stomp for good measure. And again, I really like Nature Vow, but in retrospect, not sure if it was the best swap choice for me for this game. This is me just double checking that I have 2 units from the prior thing, which I do. Karen and Diablo. All the other 4 are different. And I think we're going to get into the game. Yep, it is game time. Alright, so the winner takes all the marbles here, advances on from round 3. And yeah, we'll see if our swap up can kind of help deal with this Diablo that was giving us some trouble on turn 1 last game. So obviously with this lead, we are going, you know, Nature Valera style. Kind of what this deck tries to do.
These old bones know a storm's coming.
And so as we can see here, they actually led with a different lead. They swapped out that lead Diablo for a lead Brucan, which I think was a pretty heads-up play for my opponent. I think Brucan is going to do better for them here than Diablo would have. And again, this is a matchup I really did not practice much prior to the event. If I could give myself some pointers for next time, definitely need to do more practicing of how the actual sideboard swapping and all that stuff works between rounds, because I think that's probably the hardest part of the game, even though, you know, obviously making the correct plays can be hard sometimes. I think effectively making the right choices for sideboarding is very, very important to this kind of format, which is good because it rewards player skill in a lot of ways for those kind of decisions. So So here I was just deciding between slow or damage. End up going for just scaling damage. And they actually target the Malfurion, which is really interesting to me. It's generally Brucon is the threat. Boom, we hit their Brucon, so we split the damage a little bit, but don't really mind doing that since they don't have any healing out right now. And here we have two Valyria 0 speeds each, so we do have some speed ties here. And these are ones that can be relevant, because if the opponent wins the speed ties, I'm pretty sure they can kill our Malfurion before we can do much with him. So hopefully we can stop that from happening here. So we do have to pick our the 0 speeds of our own to try and deal with their stuff. Figured, you know, Brucon kind of feels like a threat here. So we zap them. They go for the slow, which is heads up play. Boom. Shit ton of damage on our Valyria, and we actually take a bunch because we slam into it. Now, this is the turn that I'm pretty sure ended up deciding the game. As you can see here, we have a lot of 0 speed abilities. Us and our opponent both have access to 3 0 speed abilities. I do believe we both ended up choosing all those 0 speed abilities, so flips matter a ton here. If I win the initial flip, that means Cookie gets the snipe, Valyria is able to smack down Brucon, and then Valyria will smack into our Valyria, which will kill it, but then Valyria will get unstealthed because she can't be targeted due to stealth. But unfortunately, we lose the flip, and it's pretty rough. You see our Cookie was at 2 there, but that's because our Valyria died from losing the flip at 0. Cookie was also at 0. So that was a 3-way. Actually, that's funny. They used Chain Lightning, so that wasn't even a 3-0 versus 3-0 speed tie. They actually only had 2 0s versus our 3. So that's kind of interesting. We were actually slightly favored to win that flip. Not hugely, but at least slightly. So again, a little bit of a bummer because I'm like 90% sure that is the turn that decided this game. If we got the snipe off, if we got that additional health and we're able to snipe down their Brucon, I really think I could have won this game. I think that was the pivotal turn where, you know, I did everything I could to kind of set myself up for success, and unfortunately, sometimes you just don't get those flips. So that's Mercenaries. That's how it goes sometimes. But you just kind of got to roll with the punches and keep playing through it. I'd be lying if I said I felt optimistic about this game after that turn, though. It's a really hard position for me to come back from here with the Valyria just enabling such fast movement, especially when they have 2 greens versus 2 blues here, both of which have low health for the most part. I mean, Cookie's not that low, but he's low enough to where he can get sniped down pretty fast. So it's unfortunately we're gonna get wrecked here by the Diablo. We get our Cookie bleed, but it's not gonna be enough. Their whole board's still kicking around. Cookie bleed will obviously take the smaller units out, but they do have 2 reds in the back to deal with our Diablo, and we just don't. And again, they still have the speed from Valyria too. And so really, the big thing it came down to is that those kind of flips on that previous turn. Again, I think I made the right call going for full 0s to give myself that little bit better of odds stacked. But even when the odds are slightly in your favor, you're not guaranteed to win those flips. So it's just what happens sometimes. But Mana actually does go on to face Dallas, which is awesome. I think that was actually 2 rounds after this. So this is round 3. I believe Mana faced Dallas in round 5. and that was a great game. I believe that was one of the games that was featured on stream. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description, and that will be for the full VOD of the event. So we do get a cookie snipe here, so we do win a flip, but at this point, it's a little bit too little too late. I mean, their Diablo's almost dead, so it's kind of like, you know, 3v2, but our Karen's almost dead, so it's like, it's kind of like 2v1, really. Like, because we can kill their Diablo, but our Diablo versus a Karen and Malfurion is never going to get there. It's just, they can root me, they're both super effective, it's just, it's not possible as far as I'm aware. Plus the healing, it's just, we can't get there from what is left on board. I do think I try and, you know, play it out for another turn or two just to give it the old college try for the tournament, but writing's on the wall here. We do get the Diablo kill, but it's just we don't have enough damage. They are going to be able to snipe down our Karen this turn, and then they're just gonna pretty easily take down our Diablo. But that is that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does do a whole ton to help out the channel and keeps the videos coming. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to be streaming the new Mercenaries PvE stuff today. So if you're looking forward to that, come to the stream. Should be going live around 1 p.m. EST. Come hang out. We'll have a good time checking out the new mercs, grinding everything up. And yeah, this event was super fun. Congrats again to Dallas on his performance and victory. Definitely recommend checking out the full VOD. But thanks so much for watching. You know, I had a lot of fun playing this game. Even though wasn't able to win this round, it was still some really good games versus Mana. So overall, I'm pretty happy with my performance in the event, and I learned some stuff. So now I have, you know, some ideas and whatnot to take with me for the next tournament that ends up happening. So thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.